Hello, I'm Derek Keddy, and in today's podcast, I'll be bringing you on an urban field study of the coastal village of Kilcoole, which is situated in the northeast of County Wicklow. I'll be focusing on three different areas during this field study: the home of acclaimed author J.P. Dunleavy, the site of the Kilcoole gun running in 1914, and the Little Term Protection Scheme. These areas are all located in close proximity, about 2 miles of each other around the beach. The learning outcomes of this podcast are as follows. By the end of this podcast, you will have gained a better understanding of the structure of the field study and why I chose to use three approaches to help inspire and invigorate the students. You will be able to incorporate cross-curricular teams into the field study, which will in turn help to engage the students and make the learning more accessible. You will have been given a resource booklet which includes a map, various images and worksheets to encourage discussion and debate amongst the students. You will also gain an insight and acquire knowledge of the local history and culture of this village. Now I'd like to give a brief rationale for the reason I chose my home village of Kilcoole for this urban field study. Firstly, I feel that by focusing on local aspects and issues, the learning will be made more accessible to the students. They will gain an understanding of the importance of the locality and how significant a role it plays in a wider context. I've included images and literature which will spark conversation and debate amongst the students. This is all with the aim of getting the students to discuss actions and help develop their understanding. There is a mixture of higher order and lower order questions to build and develop the skills of the students. This field study will provide the students with an opportunity to become aware of themselves as local and global citizens with rights and responsibilities. This will in turn provide a context for concepts learned in class to be brought into real life in this field study. Building on this, the field study will integrate information and content from other disciplines such as history, science, geography and English. Finally, this field study will help the students to realise the significance and importance of active citizenship and how they can contribute to local efforts. Now I'd like to begin the field study at the home of author J.P. Dunleavy in Ballydunarray, which is located number 1 on your map. You will find various images in your booklet on Dunleavy and an article from the Irish Times on his homestead. Dunleavy lived in an isolated cottage here in the 1940s, where he wrote his acclaimed and controversial novel The Ginger Man. It gained notoriety and infamy due to its material and subject matter. It was banned in the US and here in Ireland by reason of obscenity. Despite this, it was later named one of the 100 best novels of the 20th century by the Modern Library in 1998. I feel this location would be appropriate to discuss the issue of censorship and the right to freedom of expression. I'd relate the book to a more recent piece of work such as 50 Shades of Grey, where the storyline was dissimilar, but the impact would have been quite similar. However, this book was not banned. I would then relate the concept of censorship to history and why governments would censor material. The students would have covered this while studying the emergency in Irish history. The questions on the worksheet would provoke a valuable discussion and debate on the right to freedom of expression. I feel this is very relevant due to the Charlie Hebdo tragedy in France and the ongoing situation in countries such as Saudi Arabia, where the right to freedom of expression is curtailed significantly. The students will be able to debate the balance of rights and what responsibility is on citizens in the exercise of these rights. Is the freedom of expression unlimited, or is it counterbalanced? This issue is extremely relevant, and I feel this discussion would aid and help the students. After this, I'll move a short distance down the beach to stop number 2 on your map. Directly inside the gate to the beach is a plaque commemorating the 1914 gun running. This event is somewhat lesser known than the Hout gun running, which took place a week earlier. The plaque acts as a reminder to all visitors of the role played by this event in paving the way for further events which culminated in Ireland's independence and the foundation of our democratic institutions. Along with the resource booklet, you will have a small book which lays out and depicts the actual event and the audacity of it. This I feel is very relevant to the students because it develops an understanding for the rich heritage that local history has and the significance of it. Here the community played an integral role in the landing of ammunition. The citizens of the village came together in secrecy to aid the volunteers. As an activity, I would then get the students to map a route out of the village, avoiding the main roads which would have been covered by the RSC at the time. This will enable the students to work as a team and develop their team working skills. I would then get the students to discuss the role of the community and how active citizenship can produce significant results. In broader terms, we could relate it to other seminal events in history that were brought about by communities both locally and internationally. The civil rights marches in the north in the 1960s were entirely community based, for example, and this would integrate the subject of history. I feel that the upcoming 1916 centenary is a great opportunity to bring our history to life. It is vital that the students understand how our country was founded and the events that brought our democratic institutions to bear. This will provide students with an opportunity to accept and understand that individuals and events must be understood in their historical context. This will envelop the empathetic skills of the students, which I feel is a very important skill for students. Also, local events like this provide students with the opportunity to discover more about their local heritage and its place in the wider world, and in turn make the learning more accessible to them. After this, I will move the short distance down the beach to an area known as the Breaches. Here the students will find a conservation project for the little tern, one of the rarest seabirds found in Ireland. This project has been in place for the last 30 years and provides an excellent platform for discussion on the importance of stewardship and interdependence, and the role that active citizenship and volunteerism has to play in society. You will again in your booklet find an information sheet on the little tern and images of the sanctuary also. The sanctuary is enclosed, patrolled and monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during the summer. Kilcoole is the largest sanctuary and breeding ground of its kind in Ireland, and every summer the little terns return from Africa to breed and nest. This location is an excellent opportunity for linking with the subjects of geography and science. As you can see from the images in your booklet, there is a rich abundance of wildlife, flora and fauna in this area. As a result, I would incorporate an ecology aspect into the field study to connect the disciplines together. There is also a very significant area of marsh behind the conservation project, which is home to a number of animals, including the elusive otter. This area would provide the students with an opportunity to utilise their knowledge of wetlands. It would also help them apply the information that they have learned in class to the real world. These are skills that students need to develop, and activities and field trips, if organised properly, would help them build their capacity to use these skills. By linking the subject with other disciplines, it will show the students that the study of CSP is evident in most other disciplines, and that is not mutually exclusive to the subject itself alone. Returning to Little Tern. These birds nest on the ground, and the beach in Kilcoole is suitable for them as it is a shingle beach which provides camouflage for eggs and chicks. There are wardens monitoring the enclosure, and as such this will give the students a great opportunity to listen to their expert knowledge and ask any questions they have. This would enable them to develop their communication skills and their ability to manage information and to think. As you see in your booklets, there is a focus on the stewardship concept of CSPE, and this scheme would be an opportune time to show them how they as citizens are temporary owners and stewards of the earth, and they are entrusted and empowered to take care and maintain it. I would ask the students to think of the scenario if there was an absence of stewardship shown along the beach. It would undoubtedly result in the extinction and depletion of what is already a very rare seabird. Building on this, I would get the students to work in groups to think about how they could raise awareness of this local issue. This activity would also relate to the key skill of staying well, as it will give the students an opportunity to become aware of themselves as local and global citizens with rights and responsibilities. This discussion would then be linked to how they could develop an action project based on this sanctuary. This is a key aspect because the students need to be doing actions and are discussing actions all the time. Before I recap the learning outcomes, I would like to say a few words about the key skills. I have focused on the key skills in all aspects of this field study. Working with others and developing their teamwork skills have been paramount in all the activities. Being creative was focused on when the students had to think about an action project based on the little tern and imagining ways that they can make a difference. Managing information and thinking will be covered throughout the field study when the students have to develop empathetic thinking skills by considering issues from different perspectives. By giving the students the opportunity to become aware of themselves as local and global citizens with rights and responsibilities, they are developing the skills of staying well and managing themselves. And by debating and discussing issues with each other, they are building on their communication skills effectively. I would now like to recap the learning outcomes briefly. By now you should have gained a better understanding of the concept of this field study and the effectiveness of the three-prong approach. You will be able to use various activities to motivate and engage the learners. You should have a great understanding of how to incorporate cross-curricular teams into the topics, which also have a focus on using the key skills. And above all else, all these elements in unison would help in making the learning accessible for the students. Thank you for listening. Slán Abhaile.